He leads us all the way, playing proper football, the Sheff United way. Ale, 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 ale.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and anybody else who is joining me here today. This is the Sheff United way match reaction to our 2-1 defeat on New Year's Day, our defeat at the Stadium of Light to Sunderland. Now, overall, main reflections, if we're starting off, I thought it was a really good game of football. I actually thought watching it was entertaining. I thought it was end-to-end. I thought particularly that second half was a really good watch. I think, yes, I'm focusing on the positives. That's where we're starting. We're starting with the positives, and the positives are that it was a good watch. The result itself, you know, given that Leeds drew, given that Burnley drew, the result itself is not a disaster. But what I will say is that it was an absolute disaster class from our defenders. I don't know what they were doing today. I don't know if they've had too much turkey. I don't know if they've been out last night and they've just decided to turn one in today. But it was an absolute shocker defensively from United in terms of throwing this game away and giving Sunderland 2 really easy goals, as well as giving them numerous opportunities to make it more than just the 2-1, because we look terrified. And I think a lot of that comes down to individual quality. I think today, as much as anything, we've realised how much we are going to miss Harry Souttar. I think the impact he'd had on this team looks bigger by the moment. And I mean, this is a man who's 6'7", so everything looks big with him, but it's even bigger than that because it's really torn out that core. We had such a strong core. We weren't conceding goals. We weren't making silly mistakes. And today we've given away silly goals. We've made silly mistakes and defensively have looked a real shambles. So hopefully the new owners have been watching that and that they've taken note to say, we have got to go out there and we've got to get some defenders into the club, because playing like that, you don't go anywhere. That defense reminded me of last season, reminded me of us just giving away goals, making it easy for teams, panicking and wetting the bed every time anyone tried to run at us. We've got to try and improve. We've got some work to do on the training ground. So defensively today, it was a real concern. Going forward, we know what we're lacking. We know that we need a little bit more creativity. We need a little bit more from our attackers in terms of goal scoring, in terms of being able to get on the end of chances, in terms of being able to beat a man. I think both strikers today, Moore and Brewster, they showed us both the things that they can do, but also the massive limitations that they've got in their game, particularly in terms of actually making a difference and taking those chances that come their way, because both of them had, obviously, Moore with the penalty, Brewster with a really good chance in the second half, and neither of them even looked like scoring. It's not often you say that someone takes a penalty and never looked like scoring, but Moore never looked like scoring with that one. Really weak, really disappointing. But their overall reflections on the game, let's get into it and what my thoughts were overall on how this game has played out and what happened through that. I think in terms of the starting 11, I thought it was interesting today. I was worried at the start. I thought we were switching back to what we did against Burnley. Against Burnley, we started with Moore and Bruce as a 4-4-2. Left us exposed down the right wing where we got overloaded. I didn't actually think that was the problem today. I thought the formation worked. I thought the press that we got from the start was really quite effective. I think the way that we were forcing mistakes from the Sunderland defenders right at the start of the game worked well. I think we were putting pressure on the keeper. We actually even nearly got a goal from tackling the keeper at one point. So I felt as though that worked pretty well and that the changes we made set us up at least as if we were going to try and be successful. United obviously made a really nice start and 12 minutes in, get the penalty. Thought, you know, we'd created a lot by them. We really started well. We'd pushed onto them. We'd put them under a lot of pressure. And then the penalty comes from just brain dead defending. And I'm going to use that term quite a lot because I think there's been a lot of brain dead defending that's happened on that pitch today. But the first one is crossing to the box from United, creates a little bit of chaos. For some reason, 09 just grabs hold of Moore's shirt. Is Moore going to knock it in? Possibly. Maybe he said this is a calculated risk and it's worth doing it. But it's just stupidity. Obviously, it's going to be a penalty. He took the penalty. It's rubbish. Just a really rubbish penalty. There's no saving grace to it. He's just took an absolute shocker of a penalty. He's run forward. He's tried to just knock it straight down the middle of the net, got it all wrong and just basically passed it to exactly where the keeper's dived. Really, really poor. And that's the second this season now that he's missed. He's taken 3, scored 1, missed 2. And I do wonder if we need to be thinking about, well, do we need a different penalty taker? Do we need to be mixing that up? Are there other players in the squad who can step forward? Because that's really not a good record. And that penalty today screamed of somebody who is lacking confidence and who just did not know how to take that penalty, how to make sure that he scored there. Then not long after, United go 1-0 down. And that's the way football goes. It's very reflective of United's, almost the opposite of United's season so far up to this point. It's felt as though that we've got the right end of these sort of tight moments, and today we got all the wrong ones. And this goal for 1-0, it's schoolboy. It's embarrassing. I don't know what else you can say about it. They've cleared the ball because United have put them under pressure. They've lumped it forward, and it's really easy. You head it, or you just put your foot through it. I don't know what Robinson's trying to do, but we've seen him do this a few times in the past. It's not exactly a shock if I say the ball's come to Robinson, he's messed it up, and the other team scored, because he has had a pretty good 12 months, but he did this against QPR back at the start of the season. Last time we were in the Championship, he did this fairly regularly, and this is really, really poor. He ends up just knocking it perfectly for the Sunderland striker. I think it's Mayenda who just runs through one-on-one, finishes really nicely. But yeah, from United's perspective, you just can't be doing that. We've missed a penalty, giving them a 1-goal head start. It's really poor, particularly in a game like this against a team up there at the top of the division who are unbeaten at home this season. You can't be giving them such an easy start the way that we have. But United responded really, really well. After we'd conceded that goal, after we'd made the mistake, United went out and said, right, let's put this right. Let's get back into it as soon as possible. And United, well, Gustavo Harmer creates a really, really nice goal for United. And it all comes from him and just a little bit of magic he did on the right wing before the corner, before the chance. He gets the ball out there. United have just had a corner whipped in. It's been cleared. It's come to Harmer on the right side. And when everybody else is thinking, right, take a touch, cross it, try and find your man, he sees the keeper off his line, sees that position, and just smashes it towards the near post. It's a lovely effort. It doesn't really, the keeper makes a relatively comfortable save, but he pushes it out for a corner, and you can sense that it gives just a little bit of panic to Sunderland in the way that they try and handle the corner that comes in immediately after that. The first one, they can't clear it. United whip it back in again, and it comes to Harmer again, inside the box this time, smashes it across, and I said it about our penalty. I would have said it to describe their first goal, and now I'll say it to describe our first goal. Brain dead defending. Just what is he doing in terms of how he's trying to clear this ball? Harmer smashes it across goal. Their lad just heads it straight into his own net, and it's just really bad decision making, really poor. And at this point, you think, right, well, we've made a mistake. They've made a mistake. Let's write it off. 1-1. We kick on from here now. United have been the better team in this game. They've looked really, really dangerous when they've come forward. But United have really been the better team, I think, in this game. But then United do it again. And again, really, really poor defending. And all of these goals come within an 8-minute spell where it's just all getting carried away. And this is a really bad goal to concede again. The ball is simple to Sidipeck. He's got it at his feet. All he's got to do is either take a touch or make a pass. He doesn't do either. And it's really, really poor play. He then lets Roberts take it off the end of his foot. He's left in no man land, and Sunderland are charging forward on the break. The ball is played too hard, so he pushes the ball from Roberts out to their attacker on the left wing. It's too hard. He kicks it too hard. Isidore is in a bad position. He's then had to front up to Anel, and he's being forced wide. But what Anel does is runs in and slows. He lets Isidore take a touch, lets him then knock it out of his feet, and then Anel can't catch up to him, can't commit because he'll give a penalty away, and gives him a really easy opportunity to get around him, have a shot on goal. It's a beautiful finish. From Sunderland's perspective, Isidore has done fantastically to create this chance to score this goal. They'll be praising their press. They'll be praising the movement and the footwork. But we made it so easy for them to A, win the ball, and B, for him to get around Anel and have a shot on goal. And it's really disappointing, again, that twice we've given away 2 really straightforward goals here, and we just didn't need to do that. The defensive solidity we've shown all season, we've been fantastic defensively all year. And we're just getting into a bit of a pattern now where we're conceding 2 goals a game away from home over our most recent games. We did it at West Brom, did it at Coventry, we've done it today. It's just becoming a little bit of a pattern, and we've got to look at what our defensive structure is away from home to make sure that we're not continuing to do this. Because if you concede 2 goals in a game, it's very, very rare that you're going to be able to win that one. So this was really poor from United, and we we got to the end of the first half. It's still 2-1, but the entire message, and it's going to be the message of the entire video from me, is just that it was a defensive, just horrendous mistake after mistake. And if I'm being fully honest, it reminded me of last season. This fully reminded me of the Sheffield United of last season, where the other team had a player or two players who were relatively fast and who could dribble with the ball, and we backed off and wet ourselves every single time it was at their feet. And Robinson did that time after time after time today. I'll come back to Robinson at the end of the game, but I really thought this was a really, really poor performance from him and Anel. I thought they just allowed Isidore and Mayenda to completely dominate that game. Every time they came forward, we backed off and backed off and backed off and gave them all the time and space in the world to really start to create, to really cause us problems. And if I'm being honest, by the time we got to half-time, we were lucky it was still 2-1 because they'd had a couple of other chances of hitting us on the break, of forcing us backwards. And we've really got to try and be better than that. Came out for the second half, and I thought United again came out quickly. The way that we'd started the first half quite well, we did the same again at the start of the second half. Thought we pressed them well, but we just couldn't create any chances. I made a note. O'Hare did a beautiful overhead kick. Now, it didn't lead to anything. It wasn't a chance. Just thought his technique was nice. Just, lovely little bit of technique. Nice overhead kick. Sometimes you've got to point out these things because there were not that many good things that United did, I felt, in today's game. But then the second half, it was all United. United dominated the ball, but couldn't create many chances. What we were doing is we have the ball, we'd get towards their third, we'd try and play that one decisive pass, they'd clear it forward, and suddenly they'd have a player sprinting towards our defence, but we'd control it. And that was the pattern of play for the majority of this second half. We did create one really good chance for Brewster, but is it really a chance if it's at the foot of Ryan Brewster? Probably not. I don't think you can, like the XG when Brewster shoots must be 0.0 because nobody ever expects him to score a goal because once again, it's really good play. It's O'Hare and Burrows. They battle so well down the left wing. They play a nice little bit of intricate passing. They get it to Brewster. He's in the middle of the box. Now, it's a relatively tight angle, but it's the kind of angle where you're expecting a shot to hit the target. Don't even get close. Like he didn't even kick it in the direction of the net. He just kicked it straight out directly in front of him. One straight line out for a goal kick. And I'm always going on at Brewster. I know I am. I know. But it's really frustrating to have somebody playing centre forward who just never looks like he's ever going to score a goal. No matter what situation you put him in, what chance you create, you just never really believe he'll do it. Even at Millwall, when he's tapped into an empty net, I still kind of thought, oh, he's going to put that wide because that's how it's been for him during his entire time at United. It was a really, really poor effort, I thought, that one. And it was probably the best chance United created in the 90 minutes. And our front two have then wasted them. So I've talked about more penalty, no confidence, terrible effort, pathetic chance of trying to put it in the back of the net. Brewster gets one, middle of the box, doesn't even kick it towards the net. And I think between those two, it sums up one of United's big problems today, which is that when we get into a proper position, defensively, we're a liability. We've given them away easy. But with the two players we got up front, I don't know how many chances we would have had to create to score a goal, but neither of them looked like getting anywhere near putting one in the back of the net today. And we've got to resolve that. We've got to improve this squad in January. We need a striker desperately. We also need a centre-half desperately to replace Harry Souttar because both ends of the pitch today we were found wanting with some really, just the quality completely letting us down when we needed it the most. The rest of the game, it was very similar. I've got notes and notes about different things that happened, but ultimately what happened was United had the ball, didn't really look like creating a chance. Sunderland kicked it long and suddenly we were panicking and they were trying to get in, looking more like scoring, if we're being entirely honest with ourselves. We were behind in this game for 55 minutes, I think, by the end. And they looked more like scoring that third goal than United did, getting their equaliser. And I think that's what's most concerning. We had so many corners today, so many free kicks where the delivery just wasn't good enough. We weren't finding our man. We were wasting them straight into the goalkeeper's hands. I just really think that there was something lacking today. Now, what I will say is when Andre Brooks came on, he actually did have a couple of moments where I thought, oh, he might actually create something for us here. There was one fantastic break in particular where there was some lovely play. I think it was Harmer into One to Moore, out to the wing for Burrows, who took one touch into Brooks, and it was beautiful one-touch football. The best bit of football United played all day, and it got Brooks in, and he's at a really tight angle, but he struck his shot well. Keeper saves it, and it could easily, if anything, have bounced to One in the middle. I thought that was United at their best. That was an actual attacking move where we had movement from players, one touch moving it quickly. That looked good, but we just didn't see enough of it. And the players are knackered. We've got to be fair to them. You know, we're third in the league. We're in a much better position than I ever thought we were going to be on January the 1st. We have dragged ourselves through the season to this point with a fantastic defensive record and some unbelievable results. In terms of points won, we'd be, 1 point behind Leeds? It's been a fantastic start to the season. I think we all just want to make sure that we don't see United throw this one away, because we are in a brilliant position to have a fantastic second half of the season. But these last 3 games have been concerning. The players are obviously running on empty. The squad clearly just is not deep enough to handle the schedule we're having to play at the moment. So we've got to get through Watford at the weekend, try and get out of that unscathed. If we can pick up a win, that'd be massive, because at the minute it's 1 point from our last 9. If we don't win at the weekend, maybe you're talking 2 points from 12. Maybe you're talking 1 point from 12. 4 from 12 isn't really good enough, but we'd take it if you offered it me today. We've got to try and win that game if we can. After that, we get a break, though. It's Cardiff in the FA Cup, which I don't imagine we're going to take all that seriously this season. We've got 2 weeks to get recruitment right, to get players through the door, to get other players back fit, get Sousa in this squad because we need him. That all starts to make a difference and things look brighter again. So we're in a difficult patch, but in the context of a fantastic season and a team that's done brilliantly to be where they are. But I was really, really frustrated today. And yeah, so I said I'd come back to it a little bit later at the start of the video. And it is just about that defense. You know, we talked a little bit there about Brewster and Moore and how you're not confident they're ever going to put the ball in the net. But defensively today, I thought Jack Robinson had the worst game today that I've seen anybody in a United shirt have all season. I thought he had an absolute shocker. I thought he didn't come up and take long throws in the 90th minute when we were in a fantastic position to try and put them under pressure. He got booked in the 88th minute. Every time they dribbled at him, he backed off and backed off. There was a point in the second half where their lads dribbled into the box, and rather than trying to push him wide and force him away from goal, he's just opened up his body to let him cut inside and have a shot straight on goal. Now, it's straight at Cooper, and Cooper does well to keep it out, but you just can't defend like that. It's just not acceptable at this level. I don't want to get after Jack. He's a great servant of United. He's been with us for a long time. But today, his performance just really wasn't there. That was a real problem for us, because I think that's where a lot of our problems come from. I thought him and Anel really struggled with the running of Isidore, with the running of Mayenda, and that caused us all ends of problems. And ultimately, it's where the 2 goals have come from that have cost us this game. We don't want to be making mistakes like that. And yeah, it's got to be better. The context is we're in a much, much better position than anybody predicted. But I'm frustrated. I'm really frustrated today. But let's come to some of your comments. Let's see if I'm being harsh, to see if I'm being fair. Let's see what you think. Immediately, I can see that a few people agree. Paul, straight in. Robinson, the weak link that remained from last season. That was my reflection on it today. I think that it felt like last season. HJ, straight in. Moore was awful. Again, you know, we've picked up on that. We need something different. We need to be able to make a change off the bench. We need to be able to start with somebody who's got confidence is going to take these goals, who's going to be able to push this forward. James Wilson, Brewster, it's just bad. And yeah, that's where we're at the moment. It's really difficult with some of the players that we've got. These players have to play. It's not like we've got options. We've got no way of changing it at the moment. They've got to be in this squad because we've not got the depth we need. But that's why we're screaming out for the owners. That's why we're screaming out for this January to come, for us to be able to get through it, to get some new players in the door, maybe spend a little bit of money and make ourselves much stronger going into the second half of the season, because this is a fantastic position to be in. Let's not waste it. Let's supplement this squad. Let's get ourselves right. Let's get the injured players back in, and suddenly everything looks really good again. And that's what we really need to try and focus on, really need to try and take that forward. And Gaza giving us a little bit of that context, a little bit of that perspective, that actually it's a really small squad. We're struggling with injuries. And for the majority of that game, we've more than matched Sunderland. Creatively, yes, we've not quite been there. Defensively, we've made 2 stupid mistakes that's given the game away. But for the majority of that, with this squad, with the gaps we've got, we did match Sunderland for the most part. And I think that is important context. We really do need to make sure we're remembering some of the difficulties that we've got at the moment that are running through this game. Where does everybody else? Peter, what does Peter think? Peter thinks this wasn't a good watch. I think that's harsh. I think that I'm trying to give the perspective as a neutral, it would have been a good watch. I thought it was end-to-end. I thought it was entertaining. I think I've watched a lot of United this season. We all have. And a lot of the games have been a little bit dull, shall we say, where there's not much happening. United defensively control it, but we're not great creatively and going forward. Today felt a little bit different to that. It felt as though the game was stretched. It was end to end, and that created a little bit of chaos. It made the game a better watch. But no, from a United perspective, we weren't really there. And it's disappointing to have come out of this game with a defeat, having not created that much that we're sat here screaming, oh, we should have won, we should have done this. We missed a penalty, but beyond that, it's slim pickings in terms of what we've tried to do coming forward. Why drop Bucks after how well he played the other day? It's got to be fitness for me. I think Andre Brooks, we saw the other day, I think it was about the 50th minute, the first time he went down with cramp against West Brom. He was fantastic in that game. I did think he made a difference when he come on today. Like I said before, that best bit of play United had all day came with him on the pitch, came with him running in on goal. And so I would have liked to see him get more time, but you can't always do that. The fitness issues, the concerns that he'll have about maybe picking up another injury that we just can't afford at this time. I assume that's why he didn't play. I'm sure Wilder will come out and confirm that in his post-match interview, but I think it's got to be a fitness thing. So I'm loath to blame Wilder or loath to say that he's done something wrong there, because I think it's just that he's had to manage the squad. He's had to manage Brooks's legs, because I think that's where the issues have come. Paul thinks that Brewster's awesome at pens. I'll be honest with you, Paul. I think I've seen Brewster miss 3 in the last 2 years. He missed at Wrexham. He missed in the shootout last year against Swindon, I think. Did he play Swindon? Whoever it was that we played. Lincoln. I think he missed in the shootout against Lincoln. I've seen Brewster miss plenty of penalties, but he would not miss it the way that Moore missed it today. When he misses them, at least he properly kicks the ball and makes sure that if he kicks it, it stays it, even if it's not always going towards the back of the net. Phil thinks he doesn't want me to defend that. And I think that's fair. I can understand the frustration today. I do want to offer a little bit of a defense because of the squad issues, because of the fitness. But I do agree that ultimately this weren't good enough. The defensive performances, I've got into the lads enough, I think, already, because there were issues there. We've thrown this game away, giving away stupid goals, missing easy chances, and you can't afford to do that. You can see that these teams around us, we've played Burnley, we've played Leeds, and if we're calling a spade, we got dominated at Leeds away. Burnley did a job on us at Bramall Lane. Sunderland, well, they've beat us tonight, and arguably will be very disappointed to have lost the game at Bramall Lane. Let's say that. It's clear that against the top teams in this division, United have got a lot of work to do in terms of proving ourselves in a one-off game. We don't want to go into the playoffs playing against one of these teams, because so far, I think we've been second best against them. We've got to make sure that we keep our consistency in the games we should win, and recruit well and try to make sure we take ourselves forward. Alessandro makes a really good point. Just Happy New Year. I think it's important to remember that, because, I'd had a really nice day before the football kicks off today. Had a lovely New Year. I've seen my family. My cousin was back from France, so we spent a bit of time together. I watched the other results come in, and Burnley had drawn, Leeds had drawn. I was having a lovely time. And so there were moments there that Happy New Year, that we all need to remember that there's more than this. But yeah, it's just puts you off, doesn't it? Just makes your new year not quite where you want it to be. There are so many more comments, but unfortunately, I am at the point where I need to sign off for today. I'm at work tomorrow. I've got to be up nice and early tomorrow morning. I can't say I massively want to do that. I'd much rather have another day off, another bank holiday. But unfortunately, that's the way it lies. It's really frustrating today, Blades. But do remember to keep the faith. Do remember that we're in a fantastic position. And actually, I think this is going to be the most exciting January for a long time, with the new owners hopefully wanting to send a message to the rest of the division, hopefully wanting to send a message to United. If they've watched this game today, they've watched the game against Burnley, they've watched the game against West Brom, they can't deny this squad needs money spending on it. It needs reinforcements. It needs defenders. It needs strikers to put the ball in the back of the net. And it just needs more bodies to really make sure that we're competitive and that we're able to keep up this fantastic start to the season that we've had so far. Thank you so much to everybody for putting up with me, for watching this video, and for staying with me to the end. It's been great to see you. Up the Blades.
He leads us all the way, playing proper football, the Sheff United way. Ale, ale, ale.